All right, I think we're back. Apparently, that was the fault on my end. My poor old cell phone tried to increase the quality of my picture I'm sending out. I don't know why. It's not like what you really want to see the bald spots, but in any case, sorry for that. So we're going to jump right back in with Marcus Power. Marcus, where were we? So we were talking about Scottie Pippen here
Yeah,
that was the last thing I remember before I cut out. I had no idea he was as low paid as he was a player in the NBA. That was my biggest takeaway from that second episode of The Last Dance.
yeah, I couldn't get over that either. It was 122nd, I think. It said in the documentary, and he got paid, and
Wild.
it was like in the top 10 points per game or something. So that was definitely something that took me back. That doesn't get talked about enough for sure.
No, absolutely. And I was asking you about video games too. What else you got? What else you got in the Xbox these days?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. Throwing me back to when I was in junior high when I wouldn't really take my eyes off my Xbox. Kind of been back to those days a little bit lately. But I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty with a couple of my buddies, and then we've been playing a couple of NHL tournaments. Some of my close friends from Midget, we kind of play one like once a week, and it's a bit of fun. You get to do a bit of chirping online and stuff like that. So just trying to keep busy and have a laugh with a bunch of my buddies.
Now, Marcus, I always wanted to get you on our podcast. The season ran out before we managed to do that. Now, on the podcast, I'm not sure you've ever listened to an episode. I always ask guys, who's the best and worst guy on the team at video games? And Marcus, buddy, your name is a little more often than maybe it should have. A lot of guys. I'll throw Braz under the bus because we're coming up with him a little later on. I asked him, I said, who's the last guy you'd want on your squad in Call of Duty? And he was like, without a doubt, Marcus Power. Why would he say that?
Yeah, that's definitely a shot at me. I like to think I'm a good room guy. I might not be the best shooter or have the best aim in a lot of those war games, but I think I'm a good room guy. And I think the worst for sure is Matt Bradley. He likes to talk a big game and he can't really back it up. But the best for sure would have to be Trey Bradley. He's good at almost everything he plays. I don't know what it is. He's just a wizard when it comes to video games.
Do you play much Chell at all?
Yeah, we play a lot of Chell. We play a lot of that online team play stuff. So I've been playing AHL since I've been 10 or so. So I've been playing that for a while. Still don't really get bored of it, and it's always good fun.
What difficulty do you play on? Because when I like to play, I don't like much of a challenge. I'll go on about semi-pro, and I'll score. I might be 5-6-1. That's a comfortable level of gaming for me. What level do you?
I usually play online, so I think that's on like All-Star or something. So usually try to play at a high level. I play enough that I should be decent at it by now, but I'm really not as good as I should be. But we play a lot of that online team play where you're really just one player and you just really get to chat with your buddies and play as a team and play against other people around the world. So it's a great setup, and it's definitely been able to keep me busy through all this.
No kidding. No, it's good fun. Now, I've heard a rumor that you guys, if you like contact EA Sports, if you have a card in the game, you can get a like 99 version of yourself. Is that true? And have you done that?
Yeah, that is true. I haven't done that actually because I don't really play that. That's the style in the NHL game. But Hudson Elnick actually did it last year, and he came in the room one morning and was just going on and on about how he has a 99 overall NHL card of himself and how good he is and all this stuff. So that was a bit of fun, and I might do that down the road, but I haven't done it yet. No.
I was going to say if there was ever a card of me, I'd be going out of my way to get it. That's for sure. Marcus, I mean, we have to talk a little bit about the whole COVID-19 of it all. Obviously not the way anyone wanted the season to end, but kind of what was your reaction on that last day? I remember everyone sitting around in the hotel lobby in Brampton waiting. Are we ever going to get on this bus to Kalamazoo? We ended up flying home basically later that day. Kind of sum up that last day of the season and what was maybe going through your mind.
Yeah, that was a whirlwind of a day for sure. I think we got a text in our group chat to not come down for the bus. A lot of us were getting ready to pack and stuff, and we just had no clue what was on the go. And I had one of my buddies actually who I went to school with was going to come over to Kalamazoo, so I was really excited to see him. Haven't seen him in a year or two, and didn't get to see him after. And that whole day, we ended up, as you said, flying out that night, and just no one was expecting it to go that way. And it was just, as I said, a whirlwind of a day, and just sad the season had ended like that.
No kidding. But like you said, you're home now, and everyone in your house is everyone safe and sound and healthy? Everyone's good?
Yeah, everyone's doing good. Family's been safe. Been fortunate not to not have any health problems like that, and just I'm really lucky and fortunate for sure.
No, absolutely. So I don't know if you know this, and a lot of you out there may not remember, but a year ago today, we're going back in Growler's history, and Marcus, you're going to share some of your thoughts. It was a year ago today that Sam Jardine scored in overtime real early against Brampton in Game 6 to send the Growlers to the second round. So we'll talk a little bit about the playoffs here, Marcus, starting with that series and that game in general. I know you were on the ice for that OT winner from Jardine. What do you remember about that play?
Yeah, that whole series was definitely a hard fought series. I think that was one of the tougher teams we had to face in the playoffs. And throughout the year, they just knew how well we played against, like how well they would play against us throughout the year. And they're kind of a similar team to us. But yeah, that goal Jared scored, crazy. You know, that started everything. It really got our confidence high leading into the next round. And he was a great player for us down the playoffs. Not sure if he got enough credit he deserves. He was a leader back there. He was a horse for us on the back end. And that goal was huge for us. And to get the ball rolling, to win the first round like that, and that type of way was something special for sure.
He even told me after the fact, he's like, Ballard, I'm not even sure I tried to put that thing on goal. What did you see in terms of the trajectory of the puck? Because it looked like he was just trying to get it through traffic.
Yeah, that's definitely something Jared would say. I don't tend to believe him there. He knew where he was shooting. That's him trying to be humble. That's the type of guy he is. But it was a great shot, and he has a lot of offensive upside to him that doesn't get noticed as much as it should. He's a great player. He did well overseas this year, and we were fortunate to have him in the playoff run.
Talk about that run in general. I mean, Brampton, Manchester, Florida, and then Toledo. I mean, you being a hometown guy getting to win the Kelly Cup at home. I mean, come on, try and sum up what that means. I mean, that's right out of the story.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to sum up. You know, it was just so much to take in at once. My first year pro hockey, my first year playing back at home. There was so many firsts, and then they ended off with the ultimate championship at the end. And to see guys like Adam Pardy and his career of the championship at home and stuff like that, it was just amazing. And finally bringing a championship back to Newfoundland after the Maple Leafs, the Ice Caps, so many teams, you know, and to be part of that team and on that team and get to do the parade like we did down the street and stuff. It was definitely emotional and something I'll never ever forget.
No, absolutely. Was there any particular moment in the playoffs? Did you have that one cementing moment where it's like, holy crap, I actually think we're going to do this? Did you have that one realization?
I think we kind of had that all season long. We really had a lot of confidence, and Ryan Clowe instilled that from the beginning, and John Snowden really kept that going, you know, and with the leaders in the room, it was win or bust, and that's just the way it was with us last year. And, you know, I think after we beat a team like Florida, who had so much success in the ECHL throughout so many years, a great team, and we almost swept them, but they got that one game, and we just played such good hockey against a dominant team like that. We really had a lot of confidence going into the finals against a great team like Toledo, and we were lucky enough to finish that off. So it was amazing for sure.
What do you remember about the finals in general? Because when I was going through my mental Rolodex of Marcus Power finals moments, all I could think of, and this is not a knock on you, my friend, was that sick dangle to get in on goal against Pat Nagel, and he just absolutely robbed you. So what are your memories of everything kind of leading up to that moment in the finals, and are you still kicking yourself about that stop on that breakaway?
Yeah, when Rogers showed the game there last month, I think it was, everyone really kind of gave me the gears a little bit. And then my buddies did the same thing that were watching up that night in the booth. And they said it would have been one of the nicest goals they ever saw, but I got no finish and just razzed me a little bit. But a lot of the boys on the team gave me a hard time about that, and still got to laugh about it when they re-aired it. But it was a lucky move, and he's a great goalie, and he made a nice save. So that's all you can do. But it would have been one of the nicer goals I've scored if I was able to pull it off.
No kidding. Well, you had your fair share of them this year, that's for sure. 50 points again here this season, 24 goals, 26 assists. real simply, kind of what went well for you this year?
Yeah, I think as me and you talked multiple times, I kind of had a slow start putting the puck in the net, and as a lot of guys did, I think. And then I kind of started to score a few games in a row, and then it just kept rolling and rolling. I was going to the net, and puck was coming to me, and having good line mates and a good power play was special for that. And the position I would play on the power play, and having guys like Zach and Brady Ferguson, Estefan that could pass me the puck down around the net, and I was just fortunate to get the opportunity to play in those situations. So I think that had a lot to do with it, and I'm definitely proud with the way things went this year.
Oh, absolutely. And how much does it still hurt, kind of knowing that this team was straight up good enough to contend to win it all again? How much does that sting you? Does it feel like something's maybe been taken away from you a little bit?
Yeah, I think it definitely hurts. As you said, we had a really good team this year again. We had all the pieces that you need to have in place to win. I think, as Coach Snowden said multiple times, we have a championship team in the room again. We really thought the same thing, and we were starting to play the way you need to play to win when the season was ending. And guys like Zach and as I said, Ferguson, and certain guys were really starting to come into their own, and we got some great goaltending down the stretch too. So all the areas you need to have a good, successful team, we had. And the way things ended, it was just very, very sad, and no one really expected it, and it was heartbreaking for sure.
No, absolutely. Well, we're not going to dwell too much on that. I will ask you, now that you have had a chance maybe to look back on the season that was, what memories are you going to take away from this year, aside from, again, the COVID of it all?
It's hard not to finally talk and think about that 19-game win streak. I think that's something that no one really talked about, especially the coaching staff and us players. Like after a win, no one would bring it up until we talked to you after the game. You were the only one who would really bring it up.
And they made me ask you, man. I didn't want to ask you guys about it, but they were like, well, Ballard, this is going to put butts in seats. I'm like, I know. But I'm such a superstitious guy. I hated doing it. But that was the only time you guys talked about it. Nobody did.
Yeah, no one really did. And to look back on how special a run that really was, 19 games in a row at home, is to think about. It's pretty crazy. The fact that we were able to pull that off in our second year with a young group like we did, and just be that consistent and that powerful every night was amazing to see.
No kidding. 3 2-goal games, and you had a handful of times where you scored 4 or 5 games in a row. When are we going to see the first Marcus Power Growler hat?
Who knows? My line mate's going to pass me the puck a bit more, I guess. Zach's shooting a little bit too much. So is Brady. No, that's a joke. But who knows? I'm fortunate to get 2 goals. It's the puck was going in for me, and as you said, I got in a little run there and I scored a few goals in a row. But getting a hat trick, that would be something special. I haven't had one since my midget days playing back here in Newfoundland. I don't think so. That would have been pretty special.
It's been that long?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I was just trying to dig you a little bit, but I didn't know it was this long of a monkey on the back. Well, you'll get one in the first few weeks of next season, no doubt about that. Well, let's talk about your line. I mean, you played most of the year again with Fergie and Zach. We'll hone in on Zach first. I mean, I know that you guys have been playing together a long time, but let me ask you this. When did you guys first started playing hockey together? When did you guys meet and become friends and first kind of kick off? What's the Super Noof origin story here?
He kind of took me under his wing when he played midget hockey here at home in the St. John's Fog Devils team. When I came in when I was 15, he would have been 16. He kind of took me under his wing, and as a young kid like that, going to midget is a big transition, and he was able to show me like the ropes a little bit and the type of hockey it is, and having to do with the travel and the chance of getting scouted to play major junior and all that stuff. So around then, we kind of became good friends, and we still keep in touch throughout the whole year and play ball hockey together and all that stuff in the summer and play Xbox and everything together. So we've been really close friends for the last 10 years, ever since the midget days.
No, absolutely. And we've got, you kind of finished the year on a different line. You were playing with Conrad and Braz, were you not?
Yeah, I was playing with Brazeau and Conrad for the last month almost.
Up, dude. Not that you weren't playing well with Jack and Fergie, but I mean, there's no denying that both you and Braz seemingly got hot at the same time. What was it like kind of making that change and still being able to produce?
Yeah, I think we kind of I shouldn't say we play the same way because he has like 6 inches on me, but we've kind of like to play down below the dots kind of to create our offensive chances and stuff. So we saw eye to eye like that, and we kind of look for each other in a lot of slot areas and stuff like that around the net. And I think that really helped us. And then having a fast, speedy centerman like Conrad, who's one of the fastest skaters in the league, and to have him in the middle of us kind of just complemented that. And he's a great hockey player, has a lot of vision and a lot of skill to his game. And sky's the limit, I think, for both them. And they're great hockey players. So it was a great matchup.
No, absolutely not. And you guys, you and Justin Brazeau, our next guest, you guys shared one particular really good game, and I'm going to get you to talk about it. You, sir, tied the team record for most points in a game. You had, 2 goals and 3 assists in Jacksonville in that 9-1 stomping?
I think it was 1 goal, 4 assists. And Justin really I think there was 1 goal there. He just dangled through the defenseman and scored a beautiful goal, and I was just able to get an assist on that. And he had another 2 great shots, and I was fortunate just to play with him on that night. I think that was more his night than my night. That's kind of why I got the 5-point night, because he was putting the puck in the net. So that night in Jacksonville was one of those games that was really fun to play. So it was nice.
What did you think of their jerseys? Do you remember those sandwich ugly jerseys that they had on?
Yeah, some of those Marvel jerseys, they're interesting for sure. Some of them look great though, but that one that night was different, way different than some of the other ones we saw throughout the season. Yeah,
made me hungry. It was like a sandwich print. It was awesome. I loved it. I got to get myself one of those. We got a couple questions here in the chat from Tom J123. A question I was going to ask you: why did you pick UPEI after your junior career?
One of my coaches in Rouyn-Noranda, Connor Cameron's his name, Dave Cameron's son. He was my coach there, and he kind of talked to me about going to school and that I would love a place like PEI because it's a lot like Newfoundland. It's small, great people, beautiful scenic place to live with a great hockey program. So I really just trusted his instincts, and I knew at UPEI I would get a lot of playing time and stuff as a freshman that you might not get at other schools throughout the AUS league. So those were the main factors. And I love my time at UPEI. It was great to spend some summers there. It's a beautiful place, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
No, absolutely. Aiden Foley's asking, what's your favorite North Division road city? Favorite place in the division to visit?
To visit, I think the majority of the team says Maine. We love it in Maine. We stay right downtown next to the rink. You can walk to the rink. It has a lot of beautiful places to eat. The food there in a lot of those restaurants is great, and it's definitely, I think, what most of the guys would say our favorite place in our division to play.
Do you have a least favorite place in the division or in the ECHL? We're not here to throw shade, but people love both sides of the story here.
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I want that heat. Who knows where it could end up playing? Never know. So I'm not going to say that.
I like that. A man of integrity, Marcus Power. Marcus, one question I've got here, and I meant to ask you this forever ago. Did you find out who was stealing your socks?
Oh, the sock bandit. He showed up a little bit this year, like once or twice.
Nobody told me about it.
Yeah, I think it's because I kind of got to the bottom of it. I'm pretty sure, I'm about 95% sure it was Matt Bradley. He loves playing a bit of pranks on me. We're roommates on the road. I give it back to him every now and then with a couple of leaners and stuff like that, with water in the stalls, and play a couple of tricks, put in funny names on tape on your helmet and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure it was him.
Remind us of that story for those at home who don't remember, because I remember something about that story. You'll be able to tell it better than I will, please, if you don't mind. I'm putting you on this. Yeah, no, the helmet stick.
Oh yeah. I think it was one morning. It was after 2 games or something, and it was like the Monday morning, and I go out on the ice, just having a few shots, and guys keep skating by me laughing. I'm just like, what are you laughing at? Like, what's going on? I finally get up to the little chat we have before practice starts, and Snowy looks at me, and I forget what it said on my helmet. It was something funny, and he just said that, and I'm like, oh no, it doesn't say that on my helmet. And then all the boys just bust out laughing. So having good fun like that throughout the year is great to do.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So a couple more questions before we let you get out of here and we get Justin Brazeau on the show. A lot of people are asking a few questions about your junior days, and we'll get to Tom J123 here first. What's the main difference you found between playing university hockey and playing in the ECHL?
Probably the speed, the pace of pro hockey. You play with a lot of fast players that have really high, almost NHL, AHL speed that you really don't get at times in the AUS. But the AUS is a great league. You only play 30 games, so almost every game is a playoff style type of atmosphere and type of game. So that's definitely probably the main thing, and just the caliber of hockey in the ECHL. It's really starting to get its credit now that it never really used to get, and I think the caliber aspect of things is definitely a big difference as well.
Another question from the chat here, and this one I actually had written down too, so kudos to you folks who are getting in some real good questions. What was it like to see a team that basically didn't exist until you signed? Because you were the first guy signed, if my memory serves me correctly. Was that a hard sell from like your agent? Hey man, I know this is your home province. They're gonna have a team. How do you feel about being the first one to sign there? That seems like a weird thing. I know it's gonna be an easy decision to go home and play, or at least I assume it was. But kind of, you were the first guy before the Growlers were even the Growlers. Kind of take us through that process.
Yeah, that definitely has been staying with me now for the last 2 years. A lot of people bring that up. It's definitely, I guess, it's a pretty cool thing to have. And I was actually thinking about doing my master's at UPI. I had a one-year master's business program that I was going to do. And then when the Growlers came back and my agent got in contact with them and they offered me a contract, it was I couldn't really say no. You can always really go back to school and stuff. So it was something I couldn't turn down, and being the first one is definitely pretty cool. Something I'll have with me for the rest of my life, and it's just a pretty cool thing to have.
No kidding. And I know it's a little early in this process to ask, but there's a lot of people in the chat going to ask it anyway. But any plans or any inkling on what you'd like to do next season? I know a lot of our fans are going to want to keep you around, but we like to hope you're destined for bigger and better things. To point us in the right direction of where you might be leaning, or are you holding your cards close to the chest, poker style?
No, kind of a bit of both, I guess. I love playing at home. If there's anywhere to play in the ECHL, it's here every single time. That's not even up for debate. But as any hockey player, you want to play at the highest level. So it'd be wrong for me to say that I wouldn't want to play in the American Hockey League if I get that chance. But if it's playing in the ECHL, it's for the Newfoundland Growlers. There's no other team. We get treated absolutely amazing. The people like yourself that are always around, and the staff, and just everything about being a Growler is just top first class.
No, love hearing that. Aiden Foley's asking, what was it like coming back against the Edmonton Top Whale last summer? Their goalie was knocked down and you scored to take the lead. Aiden's done some homework. What's he talking about, Marcus?
Aiden's a big fan. We love it. We love having fans like that.
Damn right.
Yeah, that was a game. We were ranked first in the tournament, so we were playing against an Edmonton team that really didn't have the success that they wanted to have in the round robin. And I guess you could say we kind of took them lightly. In 2 periods, there's 2 periods of ball hockey. So in the first period, they got up like 3-1 or something like that, and we were really behind the 8 ball. So in the second period, we wanted to win a national championship at home, and we really dug in, and we tied the game up. And then I think with like 40 seconds left, the ball was around the net. And I got a pass. I forget who it was from. And then the defenseman on the Edmonton Top Whale ended up clipping their goalie a little bit. And I was able to pop the ball over their shoulder to score the game winner. And Edmonton team kind of went pretty crazy over that. They like to say that one of our players bumped the goalie, which really didn't happen. But it was definitely a controversial way to win. But we'll take 2 points anyways.
Dog Runner 11207 asks, what was more exciting, winning the Kelly Cup or winning 5 straight elite play-on championships?
Oh, well, I don't think that's up for debate. It's definitely the Kelly Cup championship, but the play-on championship is something me and my buddies would play for 5 years in a row, and we actually went undefeated. I think it was something like 49-0 that we like to brag to ourselves about in street hockey. So we ended up winning that play-on 5 years in a row, and something we still talk about, and it was a lot of fun. Something I'll never forget.
No kidding. We'll get a few more questions in for Marcus Power. Let us know on Twitch, on the chat, if you have any more questions for Marcus here before we let him go. Marcus, I don't know how big a football fan you are. I'm not a huge football guy, but even I can't ignore that Tampa Bay with Brady and now Gronk is looking good. What's your take on Gronk going to T-Bay to meet back up with Brady?
Yeah, I think they probably have that planned. You would like to think,
For
wouldn't you?
sure they did.
I'm not a big football fan like yourself. I don't really watch much of it. More hockey and European soccer. Really follow both of those. But when it's on, I'll watch the Super Bowl and the playoffs and stuff like that. But I'm not really a big fantasy football guy, which some guys in the team are, like Estefan and Kestner was last year. But I don't really follow it much. But it's definitely it's intriguing for sure to see if there is a season this year, to see how they do together again.
Now, Marcus, I know you like to play a bit of golf as well. We've got Dean McDonald in the chat. Dean is saying, tell Marcus he owes me for the damage to my backyard with his hook shot. Marcus, what's Dino talking about here?
Oh, that was a rough one. Dean is a great guy. He really took us, four of us, out when we were down in Florida to the golf course where he stays, and took us out for a round of golf. And his house is located on one of the holes. So joking around, I get up and I say, hopefully I don't hit your house here, Dean. And I'm a decent golfer, so I didn't really think that was actually a possibility. Anyways, I get up and what do you know, slice it right into his backyard. So Dean being the guy he is.
Did?
Oh yeah, right into his backyard. I think Zach was with me, Ferguson and Matt Bradley, and they had a good chuckle at it. But yeah, Dean had a good laugh. Nothing ended up getting broken or anyone getting hurt. But that was a great time in Florida, and he's a great owner.
Oh my God, I had no idea that you would actually. I thought it was just like, haha, make sure you don't hit my house. I know his house was nearby, but I didn't think you would actually physically put a ball into his back there.
Yeah, sliced it right into his backyard. So never lived that one down.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, you picked a hell of a backyard there, my friend. And on the topic of golf, it looks like Tiger and Phil are going to be set to duel it out, I think, in May. If you were a betting man, are you in Tiger camp or Phil camp right now?
It's hard not to take Tiger, how good a golfer he can be, and he was of late, but Phil's also a great golfer, so that'll be great to watch. But I'm gonna have to go with Tiger.
One more thing I'm gonna poke fun on. So I was doing a bit of homework before you came on here. So I always look up guys and I do a bit of a deep dive. So I got two pretty decent deep dives on you that you're gonna have to explain for us. So I typed in your name on YouTube. Not a ton of Marcus Power clips on YouTube, but there was a clip of you from, I think it would either like Bantam or Midget, giving an interview. Yeah. Great interview, but you're going to have to describe your haircut for us. That was, and I know I can't speak about hair. I haven't had it since the 90s. But Marcus, folks, for all of you, look up Marcus's name on YouTube. Sorry, Marcus.
Oh, come on. Don't tell him to do that.
Just to have a look, just for context's sake. But talk about your hair back then, buddy. What was going on?
Now, that's not what I didn't have that hair. That's not my normal haircut. That was just for the tournament. But the whole team, that was back when you kind of do the same hairstyle, and the whole team would do it. And you go to high school and you'd look funny. And we went with red mohawks that year because no one really would do that. We had white, black, and red jerseys, I think it was. Nice. So we thought it'd be funny to do red mohawks, and we did it, and we won the Atlantic tournament. And then once we went to the nationals, they said you can't really look like that in the national tournament, so we had to shave the red mohawks off. But it was great.
Maybe for the Kelly Cup run next season, maybe it's Regiment Gold mohawks. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Get number 9 on both sides there too, or something like that.
I'm loving it. But hey, at least the red, that matched the Bishop's colors, right?
Yeah, Bishop College Barons. It did.
That's right. Me and Marcus went to the same high school here in St. John's, a few years apart, but nonetheless, got to support our own Bishop's boys. Have you seen the construction? It looks like condos now. Yeah,
they're turned into an old age home, I think. One of my
good
friends is working in there. Yeah, so
wild.
Pretty sad, but that's it. All you can do.
Tom J123 asks, how come we don't have Super Noof Growler merchandise? I know that's not your area of expertise, but I will ask you, obviously I've coined you and Zach the Super Noofs. What's your take on that? I mean, it makes it seem fun on the air, but what was your reaction? I think it was your mom told you. Do you hear Chris called you this or whatever? Like, what was your first take when you heard me call you and Zach the Super Noofs?
Yeah, my mom told me about it. She loved it. Thought it was amazing. Both my parents did. Thought it was a great call. And I think my mom and Zach's mom actually made Super Noof T-shirts that they wore to a few games, and they still have. So they loved it, and it's a pretty cool title to have. I guess you saying that on the air. It's I think it's definitely great.
Oh man, yeah. And Dean says, "Great, I'm on it." So hey, who knows? Maybe we'll have to cut you in on a merch deal for next season. Marcus, buddy, I think that's going to do it for you and I here tonight. Everyone, give it up in the chat for tonight's first special guest, Marcus Power. Marcus, thanks for jumping on here, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. It was great.
All right, folks, we'll be right back. We're going to get our next guest on the line, Justin Brazeau. Stick around. We got some content for you. In the meantime, we'll be back in just a couple moments. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Growler Hour, presented by Molson Coors. Many thanks to Marcus Power. But now look who we've got here. I don't know what side he's on, so I'll point both ways. It's Justin Brazeau. Justin, thanks for joining us here this evening. How's it going? Are you home in New Liskeard?
Yeah, I'm at home right now, just kind of hanging out with the family and, trying to stay low, stay isolated, and, get through this.
Well, staying low can't be easy for 6'6", almost 6'7", if you listen to the podcast. What's been keeping you busy, man? I know it's been kind of a strange couple of weeks with the COVID of it all, but kind of what have you been doing to keep busy?
Honestly, getting up in the morning, doing a workout, whatever the Marlies have sent to us, and you kind of get through that stuff, and then for the rest of the game, a lot of video games and hanging out.
No kidding. What do you got in? What are you playing? Still Call of Duty right now?
Yeah, I think for the most part it's Call of Duty, and I'm a big basketball guy, so I like to play NBA 2K a little bit here and there. But for the most part, it's lots of Call of Duty.
Any Chell in the mix these days? Because I have some Chell questions I need a segue into asking you.
Honestly, no. I mean, my system's so old now where once I have Call of Duty and 2K on it, I can't download anything else to run it. But I've bought it, the new one. And, if I want to play it, I can download it, but it's just not on my game right now.
Because I've got to ask, so would you even be aware? There's like in the Hockey Ultimate Team mode, there's like a special version of like your card in the game. I think you're normally a 68 or something average, but this is like an 82. Did you know you had like a special edition card in the game?
No, I had no idea. Honestly, I don't think I've played Ultimate Team since like NHL 14 or 15, whenever it first came out.
Oh, that's the best mode.
I know. I honestly don't love the I like the NHLs, but I find it more fun when you're able to play with your buddies and stuff. And I think when we play online, a lot of us play a lot of more Call of Duty. So, just try to save a space on my PlayStation just to be able to play that with them. I don't really download it. Unless, sometimes in the summer when I'm hanging out with my buddies, I'll download it again and play. But
sure,
for the most part, not.
T-Dog72 here in the Twitch chat is asking, being a basketball guy, did you watch The Last Dance on Netflix?
I haven't yet, but I actually wanted to watch that. I've heard.
We'll just cut you loose now, man. You got to go and watch this thing. This is unreal. 10-part story all about the last season of Jordan and the Bulls. How did you not drop everything you were doing, man?
I don't know. Honestly, I try to save Netflix and stuff like that shows when I'm traveling and stuff like that because we travel so much throughout the year. So I think if I watch everything when I'm home right now, my traveling could be a lot worse. So I try to save it for that, but I have heard it's really, really good, and I do want to watch it.
Well, since we're segueing into talking about travel, I know I did ask you in our podcast chat back in Utah in December about, hey, how have you found the travel lately? And you were real nice about it. But now that you've had a full year of ECHL travel out of Newfoundland under your belt, sum it up for us. Did it get to you by the end of the year, or was it really not that bad?
I wouldn't say it's not that bad, but I think, you kind of get used to it and, you find ways to pass the time, but it's definitely tough. There's a lot of long days and, I think the worst part is the next day, trying to get up, and especially with us, we'll come home on a Monday and we'll play on the Tuesday or something like that. So just trying to get up for the Tuesday game and, get over the jet lag and everything like that. But the flights aren't that bad.
So Tom J123 in here says, congrats on your first all rookie team nomination in the ECHL, runner-up for Rookie of the Year. And I'm about to tell you and all of you at home a little extra detail that you may not know. So today I had been given the team awards for the Newfoundland Growlers, and I'm happy to announce to all of you that you, sir, are the Newfoundland Growlers Team Rookie of the Year. As congratulations. Sum up your year for us, my friend. You had a hell of a year.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy for the most part how my first year pro went. I thought at the beginning of the year, I was just trying to figure out the league and how everything went. And I think as the year went on, I got a lot more comfortable and started playing a lot better. And it obviously with those awards, it feels really good. We had a lot of good guys on our team. We had a ton of young guys that played a lot of good hockey, and to be able to get that is a great feeling.
How did you find out that you had won, you were on the all rookie team? Did you have a cool phone call with the commissioner? Was it Murph sending you a text? How does that go down?
No, actually Snowy gave me a call the one day,
cool.
about a week before it was announced, and he just, he talked to me for 5-10 minutes, and he just told me that, I got it, and not to say anything, obviously, because it hadn't come out yet. But yeah, he's the one who called me and let me know.
That's cool. What was your first reaction, and how quickly did you tell your mom and dad and stuff like that?
I told them right away. Honestly, I never really even thought about the awards and stuff like that, just because of the way the year ended and everything. So it was obviously definitely a surprise and a great feeling.
No, absolutely. And what went well for you this year? I know that's kind of a silly question, but I mean, I got your notes here. 27 goals, that led all rookies, 55 points. I mean, that's a huge year for a guy in his first season. I mean, kind of what do you think went well? And did you meet all of your goals, I guess, that you would have set out for yourself?
Yeah, honestly, going into the year, I never really set too many goals out. I was just kind of, going into the first game of the year, trying to feel out the process and, kind of feel like what the league was like. And, I thought I got a lot more comfortable. And I think once I got comfortable, I really kind of said, okay, I can play here, I can dominate, and, I can do well. I think that was just kind of my mindset going forward throughout the year and just trying to get better. And, I'm really happy with some areas of my game that,
Sure.
kind of came along. I thought my skating as the year got along got a lot better, and I was adjusting to the pace better and protecting the puck and stuff like that. So I was really happy with how certain parts went.
It's a good question here in the chat from Tom J123. Obviously aware that you've done some skating work with Barb Underhill. What kind of stuff do you guys, without spilling all the beans and all the trade secrets, what kind of stuff do you guys work on when it comes to skating?
Honestly, with me and Barb, we started right at the very basic. We really focus on with her is always getting like your entire body on one foot over your one skate. You never really want to be on 2 feet at the same time, just to kind of maximize your glide. So we really went down to the basics. The way you stand, the way you balance on one foot, the stride, and I think if we can build those fundamentals, it'll get better.
No, absolutely. No, it's a great answer, and thank you for the question there. I mean, obviously, you had a lot of great moments this season. What moments, let's say, if you never play another game in a Growlers uniform, which we hope all the best and upward and onward for you, I mean, what are you going to remember most? What moments on the ice, off? What are you going to take away from your 2/3 of the year in the greatest province in Canada?
Yeah, I don't really know if I can pinpoint one. There's a couple for sure. I think obviously, scoring that first goal, my first pro goal was something pretty special to me, and I'll never forget that. I'd have to say probably the 19-game home win streak.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. We were playing some really good hockey. Honestly, didn't even feel like 19. It just kind of it was just like, oh, it's another game we won. No one really talked about it, and it was kind of crazy. And then, I think just all the guys. I thought we had a really special group as far as off the ice, on the ice. We were all friends. We'd all hang out, and I've never really had a team like that where the whole group was as one, and it was something pretty cool.
No, for sure it was. No, you're absolutely right. You didn't mention your 4-goal thrashing of the Jacksonville Icemen, Braz. Obviously, I mean, games like that don't come around all that often, especially in your rookie season of pro. What went well that night, man?
Honestly, everything. I think, the pucks were bouncing our way, and I was able to get pucks in the right spot. I mean, my third goal, Marcus cuts to the net, and, I think he kind of mishandled the puck, and the puck ends up in my stick for a one-timer in the slot. So, I mean, it was just one of those games where pucks were ending up on my stick, and I was able to put them in.
And we had that big group of Growlers Nation fans there as well. 9-1, too. Like, that game was unbelievable. I remember me and Kenny were in the booth, and by the time I think Obi scored one of the last goals, I wasn't even like hyping him up in the booth. I was just like, oh, look, it's 9-1 now. Like, what a crazy game that was. That's just.
Yeah, I think it was really good for us too, that game, because we lost the first 2 games of the trip, and I thought, the first game of that trip we definitely deserved to win. I thought we outplayed them for sure, and then the second game, there was some bounces that could have went our way, and they did, and we kind of lost the game a little bit, and they kind of got away from us. But I think that third game we played really well, and I think it was just kind of everything coming together for that last game.
No, you're absolutely right. And Tom J123's got another question for you. Being an Ontario boy, what would being a Leaf feel like for you, or even just being in the organization at all? I mean, what's it like getting to wear the blue and white? I remember on the podcast, I believe you grew up a bit of a Leaf fan, kind of. So what was your first year, I guess, under the Leaf umbrella like for you?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's obviously a dream come true to be in the Leaf organization. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid having a Toronto Maple Leaf bedroom with the little lamp scoreboard or whatever it was. So
I had one too.
Yeah, exactly. So it was obviously a really special feeling, and if I was able to play for them one day it would be something special.
No, absolutely. Aiden Foley submitted a question earlier asking, and I thought this was actually a really funny question. How often have you had to play against someone who is bigger or taller than you? Which is a great question because I don't know that I've ever seen you and Zdeno Chara on the same ice surface, but nevertheless, how often do you come across someone who can out physical you, I guess?
Yeah. Honestly, I think we played one guy this year in Orlando, I believe. One of their defensemen was a little bit bigger. And then there was one guy in juniors, Curtis Douglas. He's a Dallas draft pick. I never really played him that often. He was in the other conference, so I may have played him once, twice a year. But he was 6'8", 6'9". He was a big boy, so it hasn't happened much, but it's happened a couple times.
I love how you knew the guy's name. It's like, oh yeah, it's this guy. I played him once or twice. He's the only one. It's this guy. I know his family. That's hilarious. Folks, don't forget to hit the follow button, and we're getting real close to, I think, different status here that allows us to help raise some money for charity and that kind of thing. So, folks, if you haven't done so already, make sure you jump on that follow button and get your last few questions in for this fella. We got Justin Brazeau on here with us. And, Justin, a couple of questions in here as well about your Newfoundland experience. Again, kind of sum up your year on the Rock and maybe talk about your time in the province. I know it grew on you a little bit near the end of the year. Kind of sum it up for us.
Yeah, I love my time out there. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I think between, the teammates, the coaching staff, and, just the people in general, Newfoundland and the hockey fans they have out there, it was a lot of fun. It made my time, really enjoyable, and it was an easy transition to go out there. So, I loved my year, and it was great.
M. Stacy 43 here on Twitch is asking another question I was going to get. Who is your favorite brother, Trey or Riley? And I will preface this. So early on in the season, at least this, I'll tell what I understand of the story. I remember we had Todd Skirving interview a handful of players in Worcester just for fun because I didn't feel like working too hard that day. Yeah. And then, so we gave Skirvs the mic, and the first guy he interviewed was Riley Woods. And he said, yeah, Dad, we're really having a lot of fun, whatever. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, that's weird. So I later learned that Todd Skirving had basically adopted yourself, Trey Bradley, and Riley Woods as his adoptive sons. We'll get to that, but we're going to take a half step back first, and you're going to tell me what was your first impression upon meeting the legend Todd Skirving?
My first impression, oh God.
Because you would have met him at Marley's camp, right?
Yeah.
Did you have an impression of who the heck this unique fellow was when you first met him, and that you'd be calling him Dad a month later?
No, but at Marley camp, to be honest with you, he was on the other team, so I never really saw him too much. So it wasn't really till Growler camp, and Todd's a great guy. I mean, he can have a conversation with anybody. He's not afraid of anything like that. So, and honest to God, I've never had, I don't think, a better teammate in my life as far as, all he wants is team success over, his own success. And, he's willing to put everybody else before himself for that, and he really took us under his wing. So, he was a lot of fun to play with and be around all year. And, I love my dad, Todd.
So that being said, kind of how did the whole family side of it kind of come together? Because I'm tight with a handful of my boys, and I'm not calling them dad or brother or son. How did that kind of become such a close bond that it literally became family?
Yeah, I think, it really started with, me, Trey, and Woodsy especially. Well, we were all at dev camp with Colt and stuff like that too. But,
right.
When we were in camp in August or whatever the month was, Colt was he ended up going to the Leaf camp, and we kind of stayed back. We never ended up going as long with the Leafs. So, we were able to be at a hotel for, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. We were stuck in hotel rooms together. So, you obviously come pretty close when you're around each other every day. So I think that's kind of where me and Trey and Woodsy really started hanging out and, getting a bond. And then when the year started, Scurvs really just kind of, hung around with us and talked to us a lot. And there's obviously a bit of an age difference between us. And
Sure.
I think just the fact that, we were all rookies and he had played a couple of years kind of made him like not the leader, but, the dad of the group. So I think it just kind of strung from there.
No, I guess so. Whatever it was, it worked because all of you guys seem to play so well, and I'm sure your knit group off the ice had a lot to do with that. So let's get off hockey for a little bit. I heard Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are going to be dueling it out, it looks like, in May. Are you more of a Tiger guy or a Phil guy?
I've always been a Tiger guy. I think Phil's a great player, and honestly, I love watching him with his short game and stuff like that. But
just butter.
I've always been a big Tiger fan. Every time he's been in contention at a tournament or won it, especially when they won that Masters there. I'm a big Tiger fan, so I'd be rooting for him.
Brady and Gronk reunited in Tampa Bay. I don't know if you're a big football guy, but that, I think, transcends the sport of football. What's your take on that? And is Tampa a pretender or a
Oh, I can't really say that. I'm not a football guy at all, really. I don't mind watching the Super Bowl or
for sure.
If my buddies are, wanting to watch a game and I'm hanging with them, I don't mind watching it, but I definitely don't follow it or anything like that. So to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what I obviously they'll play pretty well together. They've won a lot before. Probably to help Tampa out a lot, but other than that, I'm not really sure.
Okay, obviously a lot of talk the last few days, rumors of the NHL trying to resume play in an alternate format in July, talking about 4 cities, 3 games a day, no fans. What's your reaction to all that? That would make for some pretty unique hockey down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're going to do with it. It's obviously a tough situation, and they're trying to do the best they can with what they have, but I don't think anybody really knows right now what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a little bit till everything kind of settles down and we figure out what's going to happen. But if it's able to start up again, it would definitely be cool. And everybody obviously misses the NHL.
How badly do you miss watching sports, even if it's just stuff you don't even watch on the reg? Like, I'm dying to watch someone be competitive against another live human being. You feeling the same way?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think you guys, anybody really gets, the feeling when there is sports on, but when it's gone, obviously you miss it a lot more. And I would watch anything right now. I'd watch a game of soccer if I had
to. Now let's not get crazy. I'm not going to be watching any soccer anytime soon. No disrespect. Have you been leaning into any of the quarantine tropes that have been out there? Like, you're not on TikTok now or anything, are you? Because you got that bored?
No, I'm not on anything like that. I mean, I don't mind watching a few of them, but I on social media, I try to stay a little bit low key and I don't try to, go out there too much.
Yeah, that's maybe the right answer. We'll stick around with Braz for another few minutes here. Folks, get your last couple of questions in for Justin Brazeau, your Growlers Rookie of the Year, presented by North Atlantic. And M. Stacy 43 is calling me out. You never did say who your favorite brother was. This is the information we need to know here. No one likes picking favorites, but give it your best shot. Or throw both under the bus. That's always fun.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really know if I could pick a favorite. I think it depends on the day, really, whoever's pissing me off or something like that. But, obviously, I think I live with Trey. Not live with him, but he was right across the hall, so we hung out a little bit more. But, I don't know about this since we've been home. I've been talking to Woodsy a little bit more. Trey's been kind of off in La La Land doing his own little thing. But, no, obviously, they're both great guys, and, I love them equally.
No, absolutely. Hard to pick a favorite brother. That's an unfair question. But hey, brothers, we're going to pitch you against each other. What can we say here? Yeah. What else do we have here for you? Did you watch any of that? Did you see Ovi and Gretzky playing Chell like yesterday or the day before last? Did you see any of that?
I never really watched it, but I saw there was a clip on Twitter or something like that where Ovechkin tied it up, I guess, with like 2 seconds left, and he had his crazy reaction or whatever it was. So, that was pretty funny. I love Ovechkin. I've always been an Ovechkin fan. I think he's hilarious. So,
and I never knew Wayne had a game. Like, Wayne ended up winning that in overtime, and like his reaction, you'd swear he won one of his cups back in the 80s with the Oilers. Like, I had no idea. Like, the dude stays sharp, man. Let me tell you got to watch that one for sure.
Yeah, well, I honestly never really heard about it too much until I saw that clip on Twitter.
Me neither, honestly. Now, I'm not as tapped into the whole world as I once was, but In any case, I think that's going to do it here for episode 2 of the Growler Hour. Justin Brazeau, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. All the best moving forward, and we don't cross paths again, upward and onward, and, a Growler forever, my friend, and congratulations on an absolutely stellar year. Well,
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for having me.
and that is going to do it for episode 2. We're going to thank our very special guests. I got my wrap-up notes and all that even ready to go. We're going to thank Marcus Power, Justin Brazeau. We're going to thank Kenny O'Leary and John back at headquarters for making all this pretty. Myself notwithstanding, many thanks to our presenting sponsor, Molson Coors. Thank you to North Atlantic for sponsoring the Big Fellas Rookie of the Year Award. And folks, thank you to all of you for joining us here tonight. Next week's guests is indeed Scott Pooley and former St. John's Ice Cap captain Jason Jaffrey. Make sure you stick around for all of that. Don't forget season tickets. Your Regiment Gold membership is available now. Head to nlgrowlers.com or the Mile One Center website for all the details and get your season tickets for next season. That's all I got. We'll see you next Thursday, and keep your eyes peeled on the Growler social media channels for maybe some extra stuff coming down the pipe here on Twitch. But in any case, thank you all again so much for joining us all here tonight. We'll see you next week.